All right, ladies, gentlemen, if there's any of you in there, hello.
Hello.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us this month on the Grow Your Business Mastermind hosted by the Women of Real. We are super stoked. Everything's coming together so wonderfully here at the end of the year. I'm just getting excited. We just got off a call this morning with leadership about Rise. And so it is a perfect time to be having this conversation because we are entering conference season. We're also entering
Everybody's
holiday
going,
season.
right? That's in here, I take it. Is everybody going?
Everybody going? Everybody going?
Everybody going? No, no, no.
Okay. That's okay. It'll be
That's
fun.
okay.
But there's other conferences too. So
Yes.
there's tons of conferences to attend if it's whether it's Inman or a local conference in your area or anything like that. There is a lot of strategy involved with conferencing and stuff like that. So we're excited to talk a little bit about this. I know that personally myself going to conferences, number one, it's great. I like the vacation that's associated with it. I also like to go and socialize with people who understand the trials and the tribulations that we go through as realtors and like we can
Yes.
commiserate together on things. But also, we go with purpose. And I'll be really honest, I usually go to conferences not to necessarily to learn anything. I go to meet people. And
And
so,
that's how you get your referrals. You build
but
relationships.
everybody conference is different. So I'm excited to talk a little bit about this. I know wonderful Cynthia is like the master of conferences. I've seen her posts and stories and stuff like that. I'm just like, how do you
She's
like
just
I
a master of networking.
yes.
I like to be
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah. She is that. So we're
So
excited.
we're super excited. So Cynthia, for the women that don't know who you are, and share a little bit about yourself and then like let's just jump into the conferencey stuff.
Yeah, hi everyone. Hopefully everyone's having a really, really good day. I'm here in New York. Fall showed up and it went from like 80 degrees to 50. But I'm Cynthia Peacock, commercial real estate broker here in New York City. I've been in the business since 2004. I got licensed in 2004. So I've seen multiple markets, and right now we operate in New York City and Atlanta, and we're opening up Philadelphia in December. So my job is to network. I find that, as a business owner, pretty much since 2006, 2007, um, I had to learn that the only way to get business was to meet more people. And marketing works, which marketing is a huge part of my job. But really networking and what I like to call connecting is to me really, really important. So I can share my screen.
And what you're saying, I mean, completely like it's about, I mean, real estate's about conversations. Like you have to have new conversations. So how many new conversations are you having per week? Like that's a huge question to be asking yourself. And like networking, bam.
Yeah, so I just created a little bit of a slideshow just because it'll keep me from talking too much because that's what I love to do. Let me view slideshow. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so let me just move this, toggle this thing over because so yeah, so we'll talk about Rise specifically a little bit in this, but I really want it to be a conversation as opposed to me talking. So if there's anyone that's going to Rise, if this is their first time going to a conference or going to a real conference, if you guys are comfortable, I'd be open to kind of us talking together about what I would recommend or what other people in the group would recommend. But essentially, for me, I lead with being a community builder specifically, just that's my personal brand, as opposed to a networker, right? I like to build community and I like to connect with people. So who am I? Cynthia Peacock. I'm an entrepreneur, commercial real estate broker. I invest in properties. We launched our Cartagena Airbnb 2 months ago, and it's doing well. I've been an Airbnb host for 12 plus years. I've been a business consultant for a lot longer than that, but always connecting with people, always trying to get in communities. And the last thing is I 100,000% believe like I am 2 degrees of separation from anyone. Um, it doesn't mean that you need to meet that person yet. It just means that you need to figure out how to get there. So we'll talk a little bit about it so that you guys maybe can think through your degrees of separation in your market or the places you want to be. So why networking right now to me isn't enough. So like to me, networking can equal contact. So I've done everything so that I can tell you not to do it. So there are things like obviously there's meetups, there's a lot of events and things like that. There's nothing wrong with going to events, but if you're just going there to card pass and get a card and then go back, you're not going to get to the level to me that you may want to get to be invited into the rooms that really transform and make your business different. Like I feel like over the last 5 years, I've seen a huge escalation or transformation of my business to last week being invited to being one of the only brokers invited to the Hard Rock Hotels Casino partnership, where I now have an opportunity to be a broker representative of a casino project here in New York. I don't think I would have been doing that just passing my card around in a room. So I end up going into these rooms and looking at how I can be a better partner in the rooms and how I can help people kind of and that's to me my core. So I think you should always decide like what is your target ROI from any event. So if you're going to go, to conference or real rise, what is the goal for the end of the conference? So like that's the first thing. If we're going to take out a pen and paper, like what is our goal to go to rise this year? Obviously, we know it might be to get more information. It might be to connect with ownership, and leadership. Or it might just be to meet more people. Obviously, we're a virtual brokerage, so a lot of our time is not spent in an office. I'm in my office. I like to be in an office, but a lot of people don't have that. So this may be the only opportunity you get to connect, and how are you going to maximize on that? So, kind of stepping back outside of Rise right now, but like to me, where you network matters. Like I am so picky about where I go now because I used to do things. So like I'll tell you my history is I started out my networking journey was I used to host speed dating events by Cupid.com. So if anyone ever remembers when Cupid.com was popular, which again, many, many years ago, I'm aging myself. I was like their selected, event host in New York. And the only reason I did it was number one, I could meet more people. And I was a business owner and I was a realtor at the time. But this was just a way for me to constantly get more names and phone numbers into my Rolodex. And so for me, real estate wasn't just a job that I did. It was like a part of my life. Like anyone asked me anything, I'm a commercial real estate broker. I'm a real estate broker. And so I became, or I have become to me, the person people call, like even if it's nothing that I do. So whether it's residential or whatever, people have called me and said, "Hey, I'm trying to get into this club. Do you know the doorman?" That's like the level of like intentionality around being a connector. And at a certain point, I knew every doorman of every popular club in New York City because I was social and I was like, that was a part of my getting to know people. But definitely where you go matters. So like for me, I'm in an urban market. I'm in New York City. So there are places that I go where I know I can meet businessmen because most business travelers stay at this hotel. And so I'm going to choose to go to uh, the Nomad Hotel as opposed to going to the Courtyard Marriott. Not because there's anything wrong with either brand, but I know the type of professional that I might have coffee with or sit next to at the bar at a certain place would be the person that would be selling a building or owning a building. So I've met someone who owns a vineyard sitting at a steakhouse as opposed to meeting other people. So for me, for my corporate, like for my commercial real estate business, that's where I have to go. If you're more of a neighborhood person, then you might want to go to what is aligned with the neighborhood. I spent a lot of time in Fairfield, Connecticut this summer, where a lot of people were at the beach club. So being at the beach club of a certain community in your market might be the place that you'll need to network and get to know people and build your community. And the last thing I'll say before we kind of get into the real specific Rise stuff is like strategic stalking your way to success. So I say this all the time and people laugh. They're like, strategic stalking? I'm like, yes, I stalk everyone that I want to meet. And that's how I feel like there's not 2 or 3 degrees. but I know what they like to do, how they like to do it. So for me, my targets are business owners. For you, your target might be the president of the PTA in a certain district who might be able to get you more deals or more listings in a certain school district, right? So what is it that that person does? Who do they know? What do they invite? Are they the Girl Scout troop leader? Do they go to these type of restaurants? Do they like this type of bag? Like I believe my customers are like a magazine. And is it cosmopolitan? Is it fortune? Is it money? Like I look at like my business as each client is has a profile. They like to do certain things. So I really dig deep into that. And then I figure out not just what they like to do, but who they know. So I found that to me, strategic stalking isn't necessarily going to the person that you want to meet, but getting to know people within their community. So there's like, so we talk about gatekeepers in this business where like there's gatekeepers that won't let you call or get to a certain person or the owner of a property if you're selling land or if you're selling, commercial assets. Like, how do you meet the people around them that then can refer you the business? So for me, gatekeepers are attorneys. Gatekeepers are like I had a lawyer yesterday call me and say, "Hey, I see you have an office in the market, and I've heard such great things about you. I have a client who is needs help with leasing an asset. She's a big time lawyer, a partner at a law firm, and these clients own an asset, and then they have a property management that I've never worked with. Now that I didn't cold call them, I didn't email them, but I built relationships with other people that have community with, and those people then said, oh no, you have to speak to Cynthia, you have to. And so like you essentially have cheerleaders for you that already talk like, oh, how do you not know Cynthia? She knows everyone, you don't know her. So like you want people to talk about you in that way, and that way you're almost never walking into a room as a stranger. You pretty much are walking into a room with like already with people already kind of knowing and recommending you. So let's set a game plan for Rise. How many people are going to Rise? And is there anyone specifically who's going to Rise who's like, I'm totally lost. I don't know what to do. Maybe you guys can unmute if you want to ask any questions specifically about Rise now.
One thing for like some before we get into the rise stuff too,
Mhm.
like in the gatekeeping of the community, the other and like finding those people that will talk about you as well. I think the big thing in that is too is understanding what your pillars of business are and
Mhm.
who you associate with those pillars of business. So like in my aspect, one of my pillars of business is agent to agent referrals. So talking about Rise and going to network at Rise with other agents, that's, a big part of one of the pillars of my business. So doing that, or if, one of your big pillars of your business is your kids' community within school. Who
Mhm.
who is the gatekeeper? Who does that type of stuff? So you also have to, when you're doing the networking, you have to analyze what your pillars are and what's successful for you. Sometimes the successful pillar might show its face when you don't expect it. So, like example of that was I helped clients buy a house, and then they recommended me to two more people. Well, those two
Mhm.
people, all three of the women work together.
Mhm.
So all of a sudden, I'm sitting here going, networking opportunity. Can I reach out to your HR department, come in, cater lunch?
Mhm.
It's not something I've ever thought about. So I then went in and like, or I'm talking to the HR department right now, and those three gals are talking very highly about me and saying, you need to bring her in. So those people
Absolutely.
have spoken about me. And so now this HR person is like, who is,
Yeah.
Cass?
Yeah. And then they already know so many good things about you.
Yep.
Like I almost forgot what I was going to say. And going back to the gatekeepers. I think sometimes people step over gatekeepers and don't acknowledge and respect them, right? So when we first decided to do business in Atlanta, instead of me going like, "Oh, I'm in Atlanta, I'm going to open up this shop and do this business," I had coffees with brokers in the market that I respected, had watched online, and thought, I just wanted to build a community. And I shared with them, hey, we have this project a client wants us to work on. What are your thoughts on this neighborhood? Is this something we could partner and do the deal together? I gave them the respect and the honor. And they then invited other people in to meet me so that when I formally launched the project, it wasn't just me by myself. It was me with a community of people kind of saying, oh yeah, like, oh yeah, no, Cynthia's cool. She's definitely, knows what she's doing. And let's go check out this ad. I had, and it's not just obviously in just the communication. I'll talk about a little bit about this. It's like also social, like utilizing it as a photo opportunity to tag each other, to support each other's businesses, to share each other's content. And that way, you can really continue to amplify that. So for the people who are going to Rise, I guess the first thing is like, I kind of talked about this, is like, why are you going to Rise? So Cass obviously just said this, like for her, working with other brokers is important. For me, it may not be as important. For me, meeting people that are not agents is really important. So I don't personally network in a place or in places that have a lot of agents. That's just my business. But what is the goal for you to be at this conference? Obviously, yes, it's a conference for the company. Obviously, you're investing a lot going. You're investing not just your time, your resources, and your money, but you're also gonna, like, how are you gonna plan it out? Are you going early? Are you going, you're staying longer? Have you mapped out? Like we are right now, we're at October, what is it? October 2nd.
We're one month out.
You're 1 month out. So at this point, have you even looked at the Rise website? Have you looked at the agenda? Have you thought about who it is you want to meet in the room? Or do you even know people in the room? Have you talked to people that you saw at Rise last year? Again, because a lot of times some of us don't talk to them besides the week before Rise or the week we get to Rise. And have you mapped out, like, what is my strategy for Rise? So if your strategy is just to go and absorb content, that's one thing. If your strategy is to level up your business in whatever way, whether it's, the YouTube content production and really meeting the people who are sharing content and information there, or is it to really get into a community because you've never met the luxury brokers or the luxury team or the military team or the women of real, what is your point in going here? And then, so when you show up, I would say show up to help. Show up to serve. Don't show up just saying, oh, well, I'm in New York and I love your referrals. That drives me nuts. And that's a personal thing. Like, people who are just like, oh, yeah, send me a referral because I do this market. And I'm like, you don't know if I already have someone in that market. And you haven't even figured out what I like to eat or who I am and what kind of a person I am. You're just selling who you are.
And let's talk about this. It's in the same aspect of when you are giving something to your clients, you're giving them something they are looking for, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're bringing them some piece of value. So when you're door knocking, you're like, hey, they want to know two things. How much is your house worth? How much is their house worth and how fast are you going to sell it? When
Mm-hmm.
you're posting out there like, hey, like I want your referrals, like you're not giving anybody any piece of value.
Please don't do that.
Please don't do that.
I call it don't be weird. And I have this somewhere else. Like, don't be weird. Like, don't do that. Don't just say, oh, I'm the only market. And then don't like blast everyone in
Yeah.
the portal.
So it's
And
the
be
same
like,
thing. It's the same aspect of like when you are doing this, like what piece of value are you bringing agents
yeah,
to
because the
work with
numbers,
you?
the numbers actually don't need to be 100. You can get three really good people. And like you said, you got three women that you sold their property. Well, one woman that you sold their property, and then she recommended two more. And now that could transform your business by having 100 or whatever number that the HR department may put you in front of. So, like, how are we going to do it? So, okay, have you researched the events? Have you researched the attendees, the speakers, the leadership, the sponsors? No one thinks about the sponsors. Like, the sponsors that are coming to the event, what value can they bring? Number one, they're sponsors. Are they in your market? Do they do things that are local to you? Can they be sponsors of local events for you? Maybe you want to go to their tables. Maybe you want to meet whoever the head is there because there could be something you could replicate in your local market as an agent, as a team member, and things like that. I say 5 to 10 people that are your target to really connect with. 2 to 3 days is not a lot of time. You don't have time to meet 100 people and follow up. Now you might get 40 or 50 to 100 cards, but you don't have time to meet all those people. But if you have your top 5 to 10 and you deepen the connections with them while you're there, then those 5 to 10 can then be your anchor for meeting more people while you're there. Well, social media, make sure you are DMing people. DM them before you get there. DM them when you're there. Hey, where are you? Are you here? Are you in the conference center? Are you at this session? What session are you going to? I always say it goes down in the DM. Like, I've gotten a lot of business from being in people's DMs in LinkedIn. We have a whole strategy that we do around that. And I have met a lot of people by just like not being afraid of no. Like, I'm like, okay, no is now. Like, okay, I'll be back. I'll just be here waiting for you to come back.
Well, and
Like,
it's always a no unless you ask. Always.
exactly.
In anything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, then like, I believe your schedule matters. I'm an early bird. I wake up at the crack of dawn. You don't have to do that. But like, do you have a schedule for the day? Are you flying by the seat of your pants? Like for me, I wake up at 4:30 or 5 a.m.
Or
most
two.
days. Crazy, absolutely crazy. But for example, when I went to Rise the year Sirhan spoke, I was in the gym at 5:30, and guess who I was sitting next to on the elliptical machine was Ryan Sirhan. So I was able to have a little bit of a conversation with him in the gym then. Like, then obviously, what does your breakfast look like? I have you guys ever read the book Never Eat Alone?
No, but I completely know the concept of it.
Yeah. So, like, who you're meeting for breakfast? Maybe the first day you're meeting other people in your local market. So, you're meeting your broker, you're meeting your local friends, and you're getting together and you're talking a little bit about what is it. And it's a business conference, but business isn't just about doing the business. It's about also having relationships, right? So, the conversation doesn't need to be about deals. Like, that to me is like, that's very superficial, right? It's not, it could be about, hey, how's business going? And like, be honest, no, business fucking sucks. Nothing's closing. Like, things are falling apart. I shouldn't be here. I spent too much money. I'm like dying. And like, if you're transparent and you're honest with people, then you give people the opportunity to put their guard down and be honest with you. And then you guys are able to build rapport to see how you can succeed or move it to the next level. People might be able to give you ideas. Oh my gosh, I dealt with the same thing. And did you try this? Have you? But if you always want to put on the pretty face, then why would anyone want to suggest or possibly provide value outside of that? I personally, and I guess we cannot recommend this on a real platform, I like to take breaks. Like, so if we're sitting in sessions for 2 to 3 hours, I'm walking out of that room and walking around because number one, it's cold and I'm going to go crazy. But yeah, sometimes if you're walking the hallways during some sessions or parts of some sessions, you actually might meet people. Again, I've met people and there are different people that are connecting, it could be an opportunity. I didn't really talk about this. It's like, it might be an opportunity to invite agents that you might be trying to attract, not to come inside the conference, but to meet you in the hotel lobby for a coffee. Hey, I'm in the area or I'm in the neighborhood. Like, would you like to have a coffee at or a cocktail at the bar downstairs? Or, I only have like 30 minutes if that's okay with you. Some people, and then they'll get to see the the pomp and circumstance of it, and they might then be more attracted to considering real. Take photos and tag people. Like, it has legs. It has the ability for them to reshare it. Other people that, oh, how do you know her? You like, the world is so small. Like I said, 2 degrees of separation. You'd be so surprised how many people know each other that you don't know. So when you show up in front of someone's house to sell it, sell it, a lot of times you don't know the 1 or 2 degrees of separation because we all have so many different lives and identity outside of being agents. Like, we like to go to certain gyms. We like to go, like, you never know who has other communities that they don't talk about. So the lunch, again, being strategic, like, are you going to the lunch that's provided by the conference? Or are you only going to, or are you setting up your own little pocket groups? For me, if as a commercial broker, I'm like, hey, let's do our commercial meetup for lunch. Let's do our team up of like how our market is going, because this is an opportunity for us to talk a little bit about strategy. For me, I've been talking about commercial real estate VAs a lot in my world because there are a lot of transaction assistants and people that VAs that help when it comes to residential work, but they are clueless on what to do for commercial transactions. So I'm talking about, and I'm talking to other agents like, hey, is this something we really need? Or how could we create more infrastructure around training more people that know how to support our businesses? If you drink, if you don't, like cocktail or mocktail hour, like, are you like, it's work. So, like, conference is a job. Like, be prepared to be early bird to late night. If take your vitamins, drink your water because if you're not going to go and pack your day from like 6 a.m. to 10, 12 p.m., you are losing the opportunity that you paid to be there for. So, like, I'm going to network and then I'm going to crash and go to sleep and start it over the next day. But, definitely networking. What's the dinner plan? What's the event plan? Meet new people every time. Like, so I know I love the buddy system about having a friend that you go to conference with, but be in rooms with people you don't know. Like, if you're going to only places that you meet up with people that you know, then you just went to conference and hung out with your friends. Like, that to me isn't as valuable because you can talk to them when you get home.
Cynthia, this is my son. Can I interrupt you really
Yeah.
quickly? I am loving every single piece of this, of what you've talked about, because growing up, I was incredibly shy. Like, I did not step outside my comfort zone. My mother literally gave me a $5 bill when milk was like $1.99 and said, go into the convenience store, you can keep the change. And I was paralyzed. So as an adult, I've learned how to step outside my comfort zone, and this will be my fourth rise.
Yeah.
And I always went with a buddy, but we divided and conquered. And sitting with people you don't know, literally 90% of the people I have found that go to Rise are just as terrified as everybody else. And
Yeah.
they are too paralyzed to say anything. And if you're too paralyzed to say anything, then you've wasted the opportunity. And I also found that, real estate agents, just like teachers, are notorious drinkers. So if we're too drunk at night, we can't get up early and network and do all these things. So every single little bit and piece you mentioned there just is so powerful because we spend so much money. And for those of us on the West Coast this year who have to fly to the East Coast,
Yeah.
it's a lot of money and time, money, and effort. And for those of you in the past who've lived on the East Coast and have had to fly to the West Coast, or our Canadian girlfriends who are coming down, holy smokes, like, let's make the most for our money and make the biggest bang for our buck and meet these people. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
And you brought up a really good point about drinking, right?
Yeah.
I've definitely been in this industry since I watched a lot of people drink their way out of the business, right? But
Yeah.
you have to understand this is a business networking event. You can socialize and you can drink socially, but at no time should you be wasted ever.
Yeah, you don't want to be that person that everybody
Ever.
the next day is like, did you see my son? She was a
So, like, I
mess.
know
Like,
the social interaction of drinking is important and it like
that's right.
get uncomfortable. My trick is I usually have one or two drinks, but then I go to like a seltzer lime or so,
Mhm.
and I just hold it or drink it. And the bartender has already understands like this is what I'm adjusting to. And there are some events that I'll just not drink
Mhm.
because I personally want to be clear. So I'm personally probably not drinking until my post dinner cocktails because then I have the energy to be able to do it. But it's fine to drink, but just know what your limit is. Some people have a much, much longer, more consumption ability than others. Um, I believe that when you enter a room, so like if you're going into the room, let's say it's a session or it's the main room, stop, step yourself to the side and just observe everything first. Like we walk into the room and we walk and you'll experience this at Rise. People are gonna run straight to the seats to try to grab a seat. Like take a moment and a breath to kind of observe the landscape, right? So if you've noticed and notice people, like people don't always watch what's happening in other circles or around other people. So like I might want to meet people on the West Coast or in Canada because I don't have a lot of relationships with brokers, in those markets. So I'm going to stop and I'm like, oh my gosh, I remember seeing this woman and she said she was a Canadian broker. Where is she right now? That's my strategic stalking, more short term. I want to kind of get close to them and sit with them and say hi, and like you said, at breakfast, I'm going to go and sit at a table with two people who just look like they're right there by themselves. And then I'm going to say, hey, I'm Cynthia. Like, how are you? What's your name? Body language. I mean, obviously, shyness is definitely something you have to consider. But remember, everyone is here for positive and productive experience. No one's there to judge you. And if they are, that's on them. Goodbye. Join groups. Like, so I like to join groups of two or three. I mean, three, like I like to join groups of three. Sometimes it can be awkward to join a group of two. So, if it's a group of two, three to four, it's more natural for you to pull one person and the other person pull you into the conversation. Like, be socially aware of those type of cues and know when to exit. If you've been talking to someone for 10, 20 minutes and it's not going anywhere, be like, oh my gosh, I gotta go to the bathroom. Like, it's okay to exit a conversation. Like, oh yeah, I'm so happy we got our information. Let's connect later. I forgot I gotta go do something. Don't stand and sit there for 2 hours because you feel bad. It's okay.
And are you
Um,
gonna are you said let's connect later. Do you have more of that in your presentation further down here? Or
I might, but we can talk about it now.
you're prepping, you're doing your research, you're doing all sorts of things, but like how are you connecting with these people? That's a
Yes.
huge part of this. What kind of information are you getting? If you
Yes.
don't know, you can tap a iPhone to an iPhone and switch
Yeah.
contact cards, but
Yeah.
it doesn't always populate very well in your phone. What else
Yes.
are you doing? Are you following them on social media? So you have to have a plan for that too.
Yes, yes, I do have that later
Okay.
on, but yes, yes. So last thing I'll say is stand out for a good reason, right? Personally, I'm personally brand wise, I'm generally more corporate. I generally wear black because all of us New Yorkers pretty much love black. But be your natural self. I remember meeting a woman at a networking event, and she always gave her business card with a little tiny hot sauce bottle. And her brand was, she was a realtor at the time, and she was from Texas, and she thought, whatever the hot sauce brand was had the best, and she loved to introduce people to it. Like, stand out for a good reason. Be appropriate to the environment. We know with Rise, there's the sneaker conversation. There's definitely the t-shirt conversation, or there's more of the, casual. It's gonna be hot, so just know where you're going and what you want to feel comfortable in, so that you send the right message depending on who you're looking to meet that day. Because every day can be a different vibe, right? Some days can be more corporate, some days can be more casual, and depending on the event. Um, Building an instant connection. So, like, let's talk about when you go up to the people. You pretty much have 30 seconds. You have walked up to someone and you've seen their attention go away. How many people have done that? Like, you started talking to someone, you just see their attention just like disappear. That's your exit. That is a natural point. You give them the freedom to go somewhere else. Like, know how to, essentially make a connection. And if it's not a connection, move on. Like we talked about, don't be weird. Don't just go selling. Don't go just pushing your card and, oh my gosh, I'm in this market. I really want you to send me clients. Listen more than you speak. Sometimes that's the gold. Where you find the gold is like really understanding how people is. Also, I change my tone of voice depending on who I speak to. Like, I've read a lot of like books on building relationships and relationship styles and personality types. And there are some people that I'll be more animated about, and it's not about being fake per se, but it's about matching people's cadences. And then in that, doing that, it's giving them comfort and like the ability to feel comfortable with you or connecting to you. So if there's a more soft-spoken person, you shouldn't be a loud and boisterous person. That's just not going to be comfortable for them. Really understanding how to naturally connect with people is something that it takes a lot of practice. But yeah, within 30 seconds, I should want to like talk to you. I should want to know you and get to know you. Any questions so far?
Well, I would like to say I think you're doing a great job, and I'm super excited. Like all this stuff is just like it's so getting me stoked for conference season because I
Yeah.
love conference season. Yes, I get to see my friends, but I also get to learn cool new things, meet cool new people. Like I'm like just stoked. So like
And that's the energy I think if you're going to go to conference, you have to go with. Like if you're going and you're like, oh, I don't want to go here, then don't go. Like I'm the person that's gonna say, just don't go. Because if you're not gonna have that energy, you're not gonna have the momentum and the personal drive to get through these 10-hour days or the 12-hour days because it's long, it's arduous, and it's a lot of conversations. Have you talked to 50 people a day or 30 people a day? You're exhausted. So like, what's your elevator pitch? Has everyone in this group practiced or has like literally a 1 or 2 sentence elevator pitch about yourself? Put a 1 in the chat if you guys have it. I can't see the chats. Are there ones in the chats?
one, I'll put a one in the chat for you.
um, so like for
There we go.
me, hey,
You
I'm
get the
Cynthia
ones.
Peacock. I'm a commercial real estate broker based in New York City. I help individuals, families, and investment group identify and transact on real estate. That's it. Like very quick, very simple. I don't always say it that fast. I change it depending on who I'm talking to. I change it depending on the goal of the conversation. And you stop. You don't keep selling. You don't keep giving more details. You stop. You allow them to then say who they are and what they do and how you can be a resource. And this is in any networking environment. And the cadence and the pace of it has to be natural to the environment. You know, what's a conversation starter? Oh my gosh, you know, did you see the Dallas Cowboys tied that game because the stupid NFL rule that just changed what, overtime is like? Some people in this room may not know what the heck I'm talking about, but like in certain environments, that works. I'm a huge football fan. Like in other environments, it doesn't. Really understanding how to connect with people. Then I told you a few things about me. I like football. I'm a Cowboy fan. And that, I'm really upset about the rule. And I created an opportunity for you to respond if you naturally are in a room where you can respond accordingly. Again, a situational awareness. It adds, really adding a personal element. Like for me, sometimes I throw jokes out there. Sometimes I'm more serious and more professional. You have to make it natural to the environment and who you are so that you can make people comfortable enough to respond. Does it make sense? Last few things. So like for me, connectors playbook. Like we were talking about, when you meet new people, how do you connect to the people? Do you connect to them and you share, do you bump your card? Question, do we know if you can scan your badges yet?
I don't know if they're doing the little touch thing yet, like they did
Okay.
last year, which was really funny, by the way.
Yeah.
For everyone who didn't go last year, it was really hilarious. They had a competition about how many like cards you could contact with each other, and so like everybody was.
Just walking up to people scanning? Yeah, that's weird. Like that's
It was
completely weird.
funny.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, if they caveated it with a competition, then it's funny and it's gonna be natural. But if it's just people walking up to you that you don't know and they didn't introduce themselves, scanning your badge, imagine that. Like that could be weird. But once you've had a conversation with them, I always like to write on the back of people's cards if they give me a physical card, or I go into my notes app. How many people write something about the person where they met them in the notes app? Or whatever. I don't know if you have an Android. I don't know what app it's called, but for us in the iPhone community, it's notes. Do you guys write something in the contact or in a notes?
In the
Like
contact for sure.
yeah, for the contact for sure. But sometimes I have a separate note app per day or per session that I've pre-planned that I put like, hey, follow up here, do this, do that, do that. Because then you can literally upload it into ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT to give you tasks. Because now ChatGPT can give you tasks and they can email you alerts and does notification of alerts. So like you'll never drop the ball. So like, hey, ChatGPT, here's my like how many people talk to ChatGPT as opposed to just typing? Me too. Like it's almost like my friend and my therapist some days. But like I literally I will sit in ChatGPT and I'll be like, hey, so here's what I'm thinking. Like, I have this conference that I'm going to on November, blah, blah, blah. I want to set a game plan. Here are the 10 people that I want to meet. Here are the people that I met last year. Here, look them up and give me what you think my action plan should be for the first 2 days, and then what should I do the last day? ChatGPT is going to give you a strategy. Don't stop there. Now talk through what you want to fix about it. Refine it. It's an AI. You're training it to be your virtual assistant, per se. You're training it to make it and sound and the tone to be yours. So for me, I'm like, okay, here's my notes for the day. Here are the people I met. Who should I introduce them to in my contacts? Who should I introduce them to that was based on the people that I talked about last week or last night, from yesterday's sessions? Now you could create little mini groups like I talked about. You could share resources. Like one thing I did really early on in my business, when I found something or article that was interesting, and this sounds old, I would mail it to people. I would mail it, I would email it, I would clip it, I would text it. I would do it because it gave a higher level of touch than just you like being the person that's always talking and wanting. You always want to be a resource. So right now, what my team does is we work with a lot of small business owners. We have a rolling grant list that we have been working on since COVID, meaning grants for businesses, grants for restaurants. I am constantly sending people our grant list of, hey, apply for this grant. I made 60 to 70, maybe even $80,000 during COVID by applying to grants. I literally sat and applied to grants as a part-time job because I knew I wasn't going to get through COVID if I didn't find ways to keep the business that was slowed down and the revenue coming in. So I literally, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so important to all these restaurateurs that are shutting down, to all these small women business owners that don't know. So there are training courses and grants that we're constantly sending people. And that is what? Creating value, bringing them value. So imagine if they have a friend that says, I want to open a restaurant. Do you think they're just going to call the random broker that says that they're a restaurant broker? No. They're going to call me and say, hey, I don't know if you work in like the conversation is like, I don't know if you work in this market. I don't know if you do this, but I have someone that does this. You want them to always reach out to you and almost like be hesitant. Oh, I don't know if this is something you could do, because that means they really respect and consider you to be important to them in that way. So again, sharing resources, creating spaces, dinners, huddles, Instagram, how many people create group chats? Like, do you have your Rise IG group chat that that you're sharing information about? You're sharing things because these strategies we're talking about shouldn't just be for you. They should be for your community. They should be for your other agents. They should, like, especially if you have a fresh new agent that's investing time and they haven't really made money going to this, you got to help them succeed, right? So how are you sharing this information and getting them? I find LinkedIn for my business personally it's much more where the sauce is. For some people, it's Facebook. Are you posting, or getting like information like how are you and what are you going to take back with you? What are you going to take back home with you for the people who couldn't go? Like, are you thinking about and what is your follow-up plan? We're going to get to that in a second. Are you tagging speakers, sponsors? Oh, yeah, yeah. And always share value, blah, blah, blah. So we talked about this. Like, what's your toolkit? What's your event toolkit? When you show up, I like to take a bag or a briefcase or whatever you want to call it, a purse. Some people like to take the conference bag. May be big enough for you, may not be big enough for you. Be on brand. How many people have a digital e-card, a blink, hello? So those to me sometimes work a little bit better than the tap, just because it gives you more robust information. But definitely be wary of like some of the vendors that make people register. It creates an extra step for people, and sometimes they miss the information if they have to do an extra thing. How many people take and have portable chargers? Simple. Amazon has a ton of options. Get one that works for your phone. Don't be like me, charge the portable charger so that when you're in the room, you can actually use it. Um, Simple things like gum, mints, like no one wants to go up to someone and try to have a conversation and be struck with onion sandwich breath. Just be aware. Lotion, hand sanitizer, perfume. Because again, long days, you may not go back to your room, especially if you're not staying at the main hotel. You may not get back home or to your hotel until after dinner or after late lunch and things like that. Memorable handouts. So like, yeah, are you bringing physical cards? Are you bringing postcards of a property or something you're working on? What are you going to stand out by? Some people bring little gifts, like I told you. What is it that you do? And then after the conference, like, how do you turn these new contacts into partners? I like to at least drop a line or a text. So I started doing the moment we bump or we exchange information, I send a text right away. So obviously, I put the notes in the account once you've walked away, but I send a quick text. Hey, it was great meeting you at breakfast in whatever. Looking forward to connecting with you after Rise, about what we talked about connecting about. If you don't have a reason to connect, then it's, hey, it's Cynthia. It's great meeting you. And you can just literally text them or resend them your card. Because sometimes people, like especially the bump feature, it puts it in your contact, but it doesn't put it in your contact in any organized way. That's like, if you don't remember their full name, it's hard for you to remember who it is that you met. So always send a quick text, whether it's simple. In my notes app, again, I'm a cheater. In my notes app, I have like simple, like quick messages that I have in my app, in my little thing that I can just copy and paste. Like if it's a generic one, or I can edit it and make it more specific. Just touch on it, map out your post event. So now if you know what your strategy was to get to the conference, yes, you met Sharon and you took a selfie with him. Yes, you met Tamir, you met the leaders in all the aspects, or you met the brokers in certain markets that you're looking to expand to or that you have referrals for. What is it that you're going to do after? I like to set up what I call let's meet or Zoom. So after these conference, I give people 2 weeks. Some people are like, "Oh, you want to meet on Monday?" No, I don't want to meet on Monday. I'm tired. I want to go to sleep on Monday.
Yeah.
So give them time to rebound, and then just send them like, "Hey, here's my calendar for the next month. Like, what time do you have for a coffee meet if they're in your local market? What time do you have for a Zoom or meetup?" And then that way, then you have the opportunity to have a more robust conversation. Then you don't feel like you have to get it all out while you're in front of them and the first time you met them. Map out how or who they can know. Again, go back to strategic stalking. Look at their LinkedIn. Look who they know. Look what other mutual connections are. Look at their social media feed. I personally wish you could just click a button and reverse Instagram, because I don't want to know what you're posting now. I want to see your history. I want to see where you came from. I want to see what you've been doing and how you got into the business or what you did before you got into business. Like, I like to see the history of people. So I'm the person, the crazy person, that scrolls to the very first post anyone has done. And then I work my way back. So now I have a fuller understanding of who you are, where you've been, or what you might be doing. Again, there are people that delete their history, which is weird, but whatever. But take a look at it and then be intentional about how you are going to nurture it. Also, I didn't put this in here, but like, make them A, B, C priority. Everyone's not going to be an A priority post conference. Only follow up with the A's. And then if the B's or the C's follow up with you, then follow up with them, but connect to everyone. But don't make it everyone doesn't get the email about connecting, because that's your time. And if you know your dollar per hour, would you pay to go to an event with them or pay for an event with them? If you had to pay, then you shouldn't spend an hour with them if it's not worth it in your time frame. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, this is the end. Does anyone have like an annual networking plan?
Actually, yes. Since it's a pillar of my business, I absolutely do.
Okay.
It's usually
Very few people
summer.
actually do.
It's 4 or 5 conferences a year. What circles can I put myself in to extend my circle, to extend my reach, to learn more about my industry, to learn maybe something that's going on in my business? So like right now I'm learning about kind of building a small team. Who do I know that I can talk to that has done this, that is maybe 1 step in front of me or 10 steps in front of me to get advice from? And that's
Yeah.
like one great thing about going to conferences is because you can find all sorts of different people and connect with them. So doing the research ahead of time of who you need to talk to is always great. So networking plan, yes, yes, I
Yeah.
1000% run a networking plan.
Yeah. So for me, I absolutely agree. And for me, I also map out where the people that I want to meet are annually. So, like, if you are in luxury, are you planning to go to F1, whether you're going in Austin, you're going in Monaco, you're going in Miami, or you're going in Las Vegas? If that's your target customers, you should be in those rooms. And so now you have a year to plan how you're going to get in the room. There might be someone at Real that's a post like in Work Vivo or chat or whatever the heck people use nowadays. Like, hey, I'm trying to go to F1 in June 2026. Who has connections? Who's ever been? I'd love to connect with you. Like, to me, that's getting information about something that'll specifically put more deals in your pocket because of the type of business and the type of deals you want to work on. Or going to, certain conferences that maybe like, so someone gave me a recommendation a few months ago, like if you guys all have your clients in an Excel sheet, right? Who they are, what they do, where you met them, how you met them, what deal you transacted with them on, and how much the value of the deal is, put it in ChatGPT and ask it to give you a action plan to meet more people like these people. It will tell you, hey, this percentage of your business came from teachers. This percentage of your business came from financial advisors. This percentage of your, like, you almost want to give details. Like, you can have a column for their birth date. You can have a column, like, if we're in the last quarter, we are officially last quarter of 2025. Let's make sure that our 2026 is prepared. What is our action plan for next year? Is it online conferences? Is it social media or LinkedIn opportunities? Is it collaboration and hosting more things? Like, if you have your networking action plan for the year, you can ask AI to give you more information on how to be more strategic. But you have to give it data. You have to give it information about what's happened in the past and what's happening right now. For me, I think the power of hosting is really, really important. A big part of my business has always been hosting events. And again, I said I started off this with, like, I used to host speed networking, speed dating events. So now I host dinners, I host cocktail parties, I host events for my properties, I host all kind of things because that's my way of connecting. So, like, are you the host? Like, obviously, as the women of Real, some of us as the coordinators are getting people to host local events, but, like, what are you doing with your contacts? What are you doing? Sometimes I just host a cocktailer, which, like, I did it last week, where there are two people that I had connected, but they hadn't really truly connected. And I thought that these were people that could really make good money together. And one of them came in town because we had UN General Assembly last week, and the other one lives here. And I was like, one of them was like, oh, what are you doing tonight? I'd love to have dinner. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a great opportunity for me to bring Diallo in. You guys really need to have dinner. I literally sat at dinner as they talked and, like, vibed and really got to know each other. And that was my goal. But now, because they've gotten to know each other and they're working on a project together, do you believe that I'll be a resource and someone that they'll look for? Because again, my goal is to connect. My goal is to always do things so that other people can transition. Same thing you guys can do with, like, other agents in your local community don't have to be your enemy, right? Other agents in your local market can be your connection because they can also tell you, like, what I always want to know is what another brokerage is doing. I want to know what another brokerage is using for their tools. I want to know what another brokerage is using for their resources. And I want to know the inside and out, not to judge, because some people actually have really good value. And that way, if we're having these small, like community dinners with other agents, with other people that we network, or with those centers of influence that we talked about, whether it's the PTA head or whatever, those people can give you resources on how to tap in. They can also give you perspective of how you are viewed. Like, have you guys ever asked for what people's opinion of you is? Like, most people are afraid to say, like, hey, like, what do people really think of me? Like, they're like, you know, you might, but that could be the reality check you need to make the adjustments. That could be the reality check you need to kind of, you know, be more palatable to some people.
So we're
Uh,
kind of rolling up here. We got about 4 minutes left.
this is it.
I
Building
know,
long-term
this is it.
capital. We talked about it. Go where no one looks like you. Personally, that's my belief. It's like I want to go into rooms where no one is doing the same thing I am. So be picky about your community. Networking becomes your piggy bank pretty much, and always research. No real time for questions. Here's my information. I mean, so if you guys have a few questions, obviously we can ask, but if you guys want to text me, DM me, let me know.
I want to know what some people's thoughts are. Like, what's like one big key takeaway that y'all took from this? I'd love to hear people's thoughts. So please either type them in the chat or unmute yourself. Anybody?
Lizzie said, walk into the room as if God sent you. I
Mm,
think that's amazing.
for sure.
That is amazing. I think my biggest takeaway, Cynthia, first of all, is that you have created such a guide plan and a floor plan for all of us that I need to go and rewatch this because it was just like a fire hose. And I think for me, the thing that I always do is just show up as myself and be authentic because there's a million of us, there's a million real estate agents out there, but there's only one me. So I may not be everybody's cup of tea, but I certainly am enough people's cup of tea out there where I want to make some connections and find out how I can help others be the best version of themselves. Because if I just say, hey, you're looking for a referral agent, no, get out of here. Like I'm not, but I am looking for a resource and I am looking for a friend. So I think
Funny.
that's great. That's what I took from it.
My son, I always say I'm not someone's cup of tea. I'm their cup of champagne. So you should use
That's right.
that.
Yes,
That's right.
I'm
100%.
their glass of champagne. You should use that.
Who else
Mhm.
we got? We've got a lot of comments on the in the chat. They're just thanking you, Cynthia, for your
Oh, thank you guys.
inspiration and good
Thank you for
So
listening.
good.
ideas. And I gotta say, I completely agree. Like, I am such a advocate for if you want to conference, if you want to network, understanding and having a purpose and having a plan. So I definitely think like one of my biggest takeaways is I'm going to sit down. I usually have a plan when I go, but I really want to dig in more. Like you said, I didn't even think about researching the people that are sponsoring. I didn't
Yeah.
think about that. I'm more in the aspect of, kind of where am I in my business? This is where I think, where am I in my business and what do I need to get to the next level? And I totally didn't think about the sponsorship
Yeah.
side of things. I'm
I
just
think
thinking about other agents.
I think
So I
Cindy
love
has
that.
her hand raised. Hi, Cindy.
Oh, hello there. I love all of this, and it's all so much a reminder because too often I've gone to conferences and woe is me, all these people are talking and hello, like I'm always like trying to raise my hand and it's not seen. And I often feel not seen. And so I made a commitment after the first conference and I started the walk and talk at Rise, and this will be actually the third annual walk and talk at Rise that opens it up so that people can meet, and it's like speed dating. And I'm just so thankful that I took that step forward. It wasn't received well by some people, and some people thought like I was just, forcing, the hand, so to speak. And I'm like, but otherwise I'm at a conference just sitting in a corner and afraid to approach parties of three, like you were mentioning. And I'm getting much better at that and just trying to, ease my way in, but yet make sure I get value out of the conference. So all of what you said, I was in listen mode a lot, wasn't able to put numbers in because I'm getting ready for appointment. But I was listening and you put some things in front of me that I'm going to make sure I do a little bit more at this next conference. So thank you for everything.
You're welcome. Yeah, and you can't do everything one go around. You guys have to just do what you can. Don't be overwhelmed. Don't try to do everything. Like, do what's natural to you. That's my biggest thing.
Yeah. Well, we're at the top of the hour. We always want to be respectful of people's time. I want to say thank you so much to Cynthia for everything. This was just fabulous, and it gets us all pumped and ready for conference season. To all the people that joined us today, we really, really appreciate it. That being said, so we got some new things coming up here shortly. We're going to be doing a separate business planning because it's that time of year, y'all. We're going to do a separate business planning event. So we'll have some information coming out about that. Next month, the first Thursday of the month happens to be the day after Rise. We are pushing out the meeting for another week because all of us that are going want a day to have a minute.
Yeah.
But so we'll be doing it on the next one will be on the 13th. We're super duper excited about that. I don't even remember what the topic is. And so we'll be back with that shortly. I think it's I don't even remember. My bad. But the other thing we've got going on too is if you haven't joined or reached out about joining the Women of Real, please reach out to your local either regional representative, join the Women of Real group. It's growing. It's a huge movement that's going on right now. I'm so excited. We've got so many great things coming out, especially right now with October being Breast Cancer Awareness Month. This one goes out to you, Patricia Ann Young. I know you can hear me. Um, we want to make sure that we are getting out there and spreading the word. It is very important. My mom had breast cancer when she was 45. I'm a proponent and probably will get it in my lifetime. Patricia and many other women on this call, and you might know, have dealt with it. So we have some charity stuff coming out, super easy. We're just asking people to write some cards and have them dropped off at the local cancer centers. Get together with some women, have some coffee, do some networking, write some cards, support other women, help hold other people up during their dark times, and they will be there for you. Other than that, super stoked, so glad to have everyone here. Just keep your eyes and your ears open, and we will have wonderful things to come. So have a wonderful rest of your week. Get your conference plans together. And for everyone who is going to Rise, please come find me, 6 feet tall, pink hair, really hard to miss. Please come say hi, introduce yourselves in real life if you haven't already, because I would love to meet you outside of a screen this big. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and we will see you later.
Thanks, Cynthia.
You're welcome. Thank you guys. Have
Bye,
fun.
guys.